Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back on the final day of the 12 horror sequels of Christmas.
It's
the Horror Man
season, and Santa Claus is coming.
The 12 Days of Christmas is an annual tradition on my channel. But this year, to switch things up, I'm covering 12 horror sequels of Christmas. Each movie I discuss will obviously be somehow Christmas related, but it will also be a sequel to a horror movie that has nothing to do with Christmas. For example, a Silent Night, Deadly Night sequel would not qualify for this, since the first film is also a Christmas movie. This is the same idea I utilized in October for the 31 Days of Halloween sequels. Now, bear in mind, I'm using the word sequels as sort of a blanket term. Prequels and remakes also count, and I've elected to stick with major franchises only, or at least movies that follow well-known horror films. These videos will not be traditional in-depth reviews either. I'll give a brief synopsis, share some thoughts, and explain the Christmas connection. And finally, yes, I know there are other Christmas horror sequels to non-Christmas horror movies I had to leave out. But there are only 12 days, so I had to narrow it down. For this last day of the 12 horror sequels of Christmas, I rewatched Terrifier 3. Like I said at the end of my video yesterday, there is no denying that Terrifier 3 is a Christmas horror sequel to a non-Christmas horror movie. The two Terrifier movies that precede this one are Halloween slashers. And if you include All Hallows Eve, which came before those two, which I do, that's also a Halloween anthology. Terrifier 3, however, is a Christmas slasher film, and a Christmas horror sequel. Released just last year in 2024, that's another reason why it's fitting that I close out the 12 horror sequels of Christmas with this one. Because back in October, when I did something similar with the 31 Days of Halloween sequels, I also concluded with a 2024 movie, Beetlejuice. The 31 days ended on a high note, and now the 12 days will too. Now, I actually reviewed Terrifier 3 in under a minute when the movie was first released. Fun fact, that was my most viewed video ever on YouTube, by far. You might remember that I wasn't a huge fan of Terrifier 2. I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as others do. I felt it was a little too convoluted and way too long. Terrifier 3, on the other hand, is only 13 minutes shorter than Terrifier 2, but it flows so much better. The pacing in this one is miles apart from the pacing in Part 2. It's so fast-paced, in fact, it doesn't even feel close to being a 2-hour movie. It's also not nearly as convoluted. Terrifier 3 picks up 5 years after the events of Terrifier 2. Art the Clown has returned, but this time, it's Christmas. This sequel is extremely festive, with the Christmas decorations, the Christmas lights, the Christmas music, and there are plenty of other Christmas connections as well. It's a snowy setting, for one thing. Art wears a Santa Claus costume for a good portion of the film. At one point, he makes a snow angel in the blood of a victim. Or I guess you could say it's a blood angel. And there is even an original Terrifier Christmas song. Sienna, the awesome final girl of Terrifier 2, also returns. I stand by what I said in my short review. She is one of the hottest final girls in horror movie history, in my opinion. Her brother Jonathan also returns in this one. The kills are, of course, over the top, as you would expect from a Terrifier movie. I still don't think any of them top the bedroom kill from Terrifier 2, but I'd say the Terrifier 3 kills are more consistently twisted across the board. But truthfully, what really stands out in this sequel is how incredibly festive it is. It may be massively mean-spirited, but it's also Christmas-spirited. I figured this would be the perfect film to finish the 12 horror sequels of Christmas. What are your thoughts on Terrifier 3? Comment below and let me know. I really hope you guys have enjoyed my 12 days of Christmas this year. Please be sure to check back tomorrow on Christmas Eve to see how I rank all 12 movies. But until then, remember, physical media matters. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.